Okay, good morning. So today it's time for another mod on my 2020 Gen 2 Superduke GT, and the mod I'm getting done today after, to be honest, a good 12 months of consideration, is I'm getting a new sprocket set. I've done 12,000 miles on the bike, and the chain's starting to click, and even though it's slightly earlier than I would have otherwise decided, I'm going to go for a new chain. So I'm getting a DID chain, new rear sprocket, which is the rear OEM sprocket, so I'm not changing the teeth. This is still a 38 tooth rear sprocket, but what the mod is, other than just changing to replace and renew, is I'm going one tooth down on the front sprocket. Now they always say when you change a chain you have to change your sprockets, because obviously as the chain wears, obviously so does the sprocket and the teeth, and obviously the two have got to match. So new chain, new sprockets. Now the front sprocket on the standard OEM is 17 teeth. This is a 16 tooth sprocket. Now the reason why I'm doing this is, whilst I love the bike and it's got loads of torque, loads of pull, I think it struggles too much in 6th gear. Let's not call them slow speeds, but anything lower than sort of 60-70-ish mile an hour, it sort of chugs a bit. And my brother's got the Gen 1 GT, and he's got the 16 tooth on the front, and having ridden his, it just brings that 6th gear into play a lot earlier. So the one issue with going to the different sprockets is that because I'm going down on the smaller front by one tooth, logically that has to work harder for the chain to move the same distance as before. So the logic in my head is that might affect the economy, because the engine's having to spin quicker to get the same acceleration or speed. Anyway, I'm hoping it's going to be marginal, because we're only going from 17 to 16 teeth. I'm going to take it now up to the guy who's going to do it. So it goes in today. It's not the sort of job I want to do myself, so I'm going to pick up in a few days' time. So anyway, I will catch you in a second. I'm just going to try and demonstrate on the video, if I can, how it feels at in 6th gear, and then I'll do the same afterwards once the sprocket's been fitted and see what the difference is. Anyway, be with you in 1 second. Cheers. Not quite sure how useful this is going to be actually with the traffic that I've got here, unfortunately. 60 mile an hour, 3,000 revs. So what's that? So 60 mile an hour, 3,000 revs. Let's use that as the benchmark. Okay, 60 mile an hour, 3,000 revs in top gear. Yeah, I was going to see if I could do an experiment and see if I could get across on video how the bike feels in 6th at those low speeds, and then do a comparison, but wasn't to be. Anyway, we're nearly there now. It's just up the road. If anyone's interested, lives in the northwest, a guy called Mike Feeney. He owns and runs a company, has done for many years. He supports a lot of the race teams in the UK, goes abroad on test days with them, and he provides the mechanical services. So if you're looking for a really good guy who knows his stuff, check him out. Race Spurs, the company is called. I'm sure he won't mind me giving him a shout out. He's looked after me and my brother for many years. He's a good mate as well. Okay, so I've just picked up the bike. I've got the 16 tooth new sprocket on the front, one down. I've got the OEM rear sprocket on the back, and my new DID chain, and I've gone blingy. I've gone gold anodized chain for that extra 5 brake horsepower. And I picked the bike up in the rain, which is not perfect, but it's the only time I had during the day to get out and pick it up. Let's see what this new
sprocket and chain setup feels like in terms of the ride. Obviously, just to recap, the reason why I've done this is to try and bring 6 gear a little bit more into play than it normally would be. So I'm expecting to see that, and I anticipate that, logic being correct, question mark, it should be a little bit brisker on the uptake on the acceleration, but I don't know. Is that right? I don't know. Answers on the postcard, please. And it's obviously wet, as you can see. Got me new. What I've got a road 6 on the front, road 5 on the back. It just wasn't the right time to change the back, so I have to take it a bit careful. Well, that does feel a little brisker on the uptake. I don't think that it's, I'm trying to work it out. It's not that you're going faster, I think it's just that there's more torque going in through the front sprocket. Listen, if anyone knows the real answer to this rubbish that I'm talking about the front sprocket going down one and how it changes in terms of acceleration and power delivery, please get back to me. But in terms of pulling that 6 gear into it, let's see what we're doing now. 36 to the 5th. I'm going to get past this Jaguar now. Right, 58 and 6th, right, 60 and... Right, that's a definite change. When I... And I think before coming down, what were we? We were 3,000 revs in 6 gear, doing 60 mile an hour. To be honest with you guys, it's a bit wet, and I should be concentrating on riding the bike safely than messing around with see what the bike's like. But I think I've decided it's the wrong time to do this, so let's get past these guys. The rain's come down really heavily now, as I'm sure you can see. Okay, pouring down with rain, soaked through. Anyway, as you can see here, let's turn the engine off. That's better. As you can see here, I've got a new sprocket on the back, standard OEM, 16 tooth on the front, and a nice new gold DID train. What Mike told me, who did the work, he said the sprockets were fine, but I had a good, quite a few frozen links that were catching, so that will have been the knocking. So the actual sprockets themselves were showing wear, but they weren't bad. He'd seen a lot worse, so that was good to know. But at least I've got the chain. If you guys are thinking of getting the chain changed, big word of advice: don't be tight-fisted and just change this chain. You should always change the sprockets when you change the chain, because if you put a new chain on with worn sprockets, you're going to wear the chain out really quickly, and vice versa. So obviously the weather's caught me out today. I can't do a proper review of how the bike feels in terms of rideability, bringing that 6th gear into play as I was hoping, and I will do that when the weather's a bit drier and I can give a proper considered view. Anyway, let's put her away. Thanks for watching. Bit of an update. Sorry it's not conclusive. I'll watch out for the space and I'll put something on as soon as I possibly can. Cheers guys.